people do. And I believe he's still doing that. He's still wearing cowboy boots now with built-up heels. Fantastic stuff. Always makes me snigger.
Well, he's gone on record as saying that you're a good foot shorter than him.
Really? How tall does he think he is, then? Answer that.
I'm nearly 6 foot. And Dean is, I think, 6'2", something like that.
He says he's 6 foot. Garth Marenghi, 6 foot tall. He's barely 5 foot and wears lifts. End of story.
There are a lot of guns in this show. Do you think that's realistic for life in a hospital, Todd?
Is there a lot of guns? I don't particularly remember using a gun that often. I don't think there are guns used in hospitals in this country, though I think that there should be. If I was a doctor in this day and age, I would definitely be carrying a gun. Saturday night in Casualty, you get all kinds of people. Most of them are pissed. And they don't recognise that you're actually there to help them. You see, so they can, all these sort of situations, can then flare up. And if you just flash a bit of steel, I think, it would soon sort out the men from the boys.
Have you used a gun, personally?
Yeah, I have used a gun. There are certain times when one is backed into a corner where the only way of getting out of that particular corner is with a gun.
What sort of
That's
gun?
life, isn't it?
That's what I found.
Do you use guns as well?
If I had to, I'd use a gun. I've not had to shoot anyone in the face as yet, but I would happily... I'd shoot you in the face if I had to.
Him?
I mean, I'd try not to, but if I had to, I'd shoot you in the face.
The state of the NHS at the moment, you don't know who you're treating half the time. I've honestly, when I was in the hospital last year, my mother was in there, and I shit you not, there were a couple, curtains round, in that very ward. And the nurse came by and said, happens all the time.
And if you'd been a doctor, you would have shot them.
If I'd been a doctor in that situation, I would certainly have pulled out my gun and ordered them to halt.
If you came into my car, for instance, demanded that I got out of my car so you could have my car. Now, this kind of thing does go on. It goes on in this country now. I should be able to kill you for that. Okay? Shoot you dead in my own car for telling me to get out of my car so you can take it. But you'd be in the shit, you'd be up against, the judge gripping the yoke. The guy that they got to be raped by the eye hadn't seen any photographs, didn't know what was going on, didn't know what would be asked of him. He was just, some extra that was told he had to lie in a bed all day. So, of course, he's going to say yes. And then they bought this bloody great thing with this, dwarf chap inside, with this cock that was coming up and down, like, behind this poor boy. And, yeah, he got a bit, he got a bit upset about that. I've seen it. It makes me laugh. I think it's very, very well done.
You don't find it chilling, then?
Chilling? The idea is chilling, oh, yes. But, no, I mean, because the thing is, I was there while it was being filmed, you see, and it was rather a hoot for me. Garth didn't find it at all funny. He took, the whole thing very, very seriously.
I have a problem with your word bugger there, okay? The man was impregnated to death, in my book.
Stuart and Kim were carpenters / builders. They put in a decent little performance as well. Harrison Ford was a carpenter. As far as I'm concerned, Harrison Ford is still a carpenter. But, he's done very well on it. He looks like he's always just about to fit a joist, as far as I'm concerned. That guy is on autocruise. Harrison Ford is on autocruise. I wish he'd just get it into fourth gear once in a while.
And, of course, Jesus was a carpenter.
Jesus, also, another great carpenter. I don't know whether he was a good carpenter, but his eye wasn't really on the job from the age of 27 up. He had bigger fish to fry, literally, bigger fish to fry. But it just shows that woodwork is a good grounding for whatever profession you end up going into.
Graham is very, very tall. It's very difficult to act with somebody that tall unless, I suppose, you're doing something like science fiction, you know, where he can play, I don't know, an alien or something. Normal BBC drama, you know, there's nowhere for him. He can't really play a lead. I mean, you know, what kind of leading lady is going to be doing that all the time? You know, a leading man with him the whole time. No, it's ridiculous. Dean's very tall, but nowhere near as tall as Graham. Graham's a giant. Garth's direction pretty much consisted of, can you be here at 9:30? There's no cab or anything. Probably best you bring something to eat also. That's true as well. I've not made that up. Absolutely true.
Did he ever mention your performance?
Well, he just said he liked certain bits. I mean, he pretty much, you know, left me to my own devices, I think. He knew I could do it. You know, he had many other things to worry about. So did Dean.
Was it true that Garth has a habit of muttering no to himself when someone was doing a take?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
I sent a memo out, did I not? Because you and I drafted it together. A memo was sent out, first week pre-production, saying, point out to everyone concerned, cast and crew, that Garth Marenghi, the director of this project, will be speaking at twice the speed that he usually does when directing people on set.
He would pretty much shoot everybody else's scene at the end of the day, so there was a certain rush, which meant you had to get them done, so you just got one take at them. Whereas if a scene involved himself, that would be done, you know, near enough first thing. So, you know, he got about 4 or 5 goes at it, which I can understand. You know, his cash, fair enough.
You're not popular on set, are you?
Go on.
Garth bollocked the sound man because he said the mic was putting him off acting. And he said, get that thing away from me. And the sound man said, well, if I do get that thing away from you, we won't be able to hear you. And Garth said that wasn't his problem. That was the sound man's problem. That if he couldn't mic him up on the other side of the room, then he would go looking for another sound man. The thing with crew is that they do insist on getting paid. They're not artists. They insist on money. I said, you will have your bunts at the end of the week, cash in hand. And they did not believe me because 3 weeks in, they still had only got coppers off me. And I said, look, you're getting fed. You've got a roof over your head if you want to doss down here. But I can't pay you yet. Stay with me. Believe in this. You'll get your money.
The crew was getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
How many people did you start with and how many did you end with?
Crew, I remember, I could be wrong here, of about 30. I think there was 7 at the end.
And did that include you?
Yeah.
I was doing the camera, I was doing the lighting, I was doing the sound.